Djelfa, 300 kilometers away from the center-south of Algiers, is a modern city with large and functional avenues in addition to both public and residential buildings conceived according to architectural norms specifically tallying with the requirements of our era. The province of which it is the chief town extends over an area of about 33,000 square kilometers in the central part of northern Algeria for a local population of over 900,000 inhabitants. It is delimited by the provinces of Médéa and Tissim-Silt in the north, Msila and Biskra in the east, Tiaret and Lagouat in the west, and Gardaya, El-Oued and Ouargla in the south. It's beyond the foothills, south of the Tellin Atlas, in the middle of the vast steppe zones of the high plateaus, with a semi-arid continental climate that the province of Djelfa expresses itself with grandeur. Water could be found everywhere in this region, where the shaded paths of timber trees are very numerous. The steppe is, however, not too far away, and thrusts itself onto us with its wide plains as far as the eye can see, where the sheep and the camel hold sway. This constitutes one of the incontested riches of Djelfa and its region. A particular attention is paid to the pregnant female camels and to the offsprings, because their contribution to the local economy is most significant. The camel's hair associated with the sheep wool forms the indispensable raw material to local weaving. Although we are not in a region of ergs, Djelfa shelters sandhills of honey colors. It is one of the most interesting curiosities of the region, thus marking in a sharp way the contrast existing between an authentically steppic landscape and a Saharan landscape. More bewildering than the dune's cordon is a salt rock, which is located 20 kilometers northwest of Djelfa. It offers a bona fide escapism, a trip to another planet. One could say that the salt rock is a phantasmagorical lunar spot. Fromentin said about it in 1856, "If it is not beautiful, it's wonderful." The exact name of this spot is Stone of Salt, Hajr al-Melh. It comes from the existence in this place of a saliferous stratum. The salt, very abundant, forms steep slopes which reach a height of 35 meters. This salt is grey-bluish as a whole and striped with highly distinct shades, almost everywhere, by a magma made up of chips of sharp angles of a rock with variable color. Several salty water sources emerge from the rock and jump into the Melh. The most obvious proof is the development of the forests of Djelfa, with varieties of trees ranging from the alpine, the juniper tree, to the green oak. The alpine tree is the dominant species. It forms plantations more or less regrouped, essentially in the forests of Sinal Berabi and Sinal Beshergi. This is an ecotype of the Saharan Atlas, with a robust plantation on a chalky soil and a high quantity of bark and resin. And when the forest, which occupies 6% of the total area of the province, is healthy, the fauna is also going well, as we can notice it. One could not dream about a better place for the development of a touristic expansion site, where all the dreams are allowed on an area of 12.5 hectares. This site dominates the forest and the city of Djelfa appears about 6 kilometers away. The city of Djelfa is thus very near, and its specific market is a welcoming place. At the sight of all this display of burnouses and kashabiyas, we feel strongly that we are here in the presence of a genuine stock exchange of the brown burnous made of camel's hair. But watch out, one should not get mistaken, because brown sheep wool does exist. Thus, the connoisseurs know well that the burnous of camel's hair is much more lighter than that made of wool. It should be understood that the wool is also part, in addition to camel's hair, of the privileged material for the local handicraft, notably the weaving of carpets with sparkling colors. This is chiefly a female work, which consists in the carding of the wool before its preparation for the weaving work. The men are not satisfied with playing as commercial managers in the markets where the women are absent, but they effectively take part in the finishing touches thanks to minute gestures repeated thousands of times and passed on from generation to generation for several centuries up to the present day. The handicraft of the province of Djelfa is renowned for its work of wool and camel's hair called the ubab. The weaving of the burnous in camel's hair and the kashabiya has now an international reputation, so much so that the Djelfawi burnous has become a national symbol in relation to the gifts offered during official events. This burnous gives an imposing presence to the man wearing it. It is woven with the hair of the so-called makhlul, which is regarded as the best. It has many advantages, notably protecting you from the cold in winter and also making of you an elegant man. A lot has been written on the subject, notably this: if you are interested in acquiring a burnous made of makhlul, you can only find it only in Mashhad, the guardian of the secular tradition. Like the camel, the horse holds an important place in the life of the region. Thus, the breeding of the Barb horse, authentically Maghrebian, rustic, robust, and speedy, has always been the subject of particular care. It should be noted by the same token that this horse was the horse of the Numids and their chief Massinissa during the antiquity. The Arab horse is not to be left out, and the combination of the two horses gives us the consecration of the Arab Barb horse. The Haras of Djelfa gives us the salient evidence about it every day. Horse racers on the Sidi Nail racing course of Djelfa are among the most interesting in the whole country. Outside the city of Djelfa, whose architecture fulfills the requirements of modern life, the traditional villages nearby continue to live in a simple way with everything close at hand. To build, they have used a plentiful and solid raw material, the dry stone cut in the nearby rock. The garden is around the village and provides fresh vegetables and cereals required for everyday life. We find there great serenity, and one feels like resting for a while in this place. The trades which have elsewhere disappeared continue to spend here happy days. The blacksmith, for instance, is not here to be a wallflower, but is well present to fulfill the daily needs of the society. Leather work also finds outlets and is going strong. The raw material is available between caprine, sheep and camels. The traditional leather work has thus not ceased, and the shoes sewn by the hand, proposed by the shoemakers, are very comfortable. The shoes were essentially destined to the nomads. Nowadays, all the visitors of the region hope to acquire this kind of shoes. Wearing comfortable shoes, we move now to the Zakar, certainly the chief attraction of our outing. It stretches over several kilometers between Djelfa, Ain el-Bel and Mashhad. We find here a concentration of manifold rock drawings and rock engravings. Antelopes, bubles, lions, mouflons, and different figures follow one another. At Ain Nagao, source of the female camel, we find rocks under the form of spacious pits engraved with ancient buffaloes. We can also find here ostriches, elephants, giraffes, and even rhinos. The forest of Djelfa, despite being endowed with a microclimate, does not seem to be large enough to welcome these pachyderms. The famous couple represented on one of the walls is named by the local legend as the Shy Lovers. If the ostrich and the mouflon succeeded in getting adapted to a more arid environment, the elephant and the giraffe had to flee towards luxuriant regions. The man, 120 centimeters high, has a sub-rectangular body. His head presents a Europoid profile with a protruding and pointed nose. The woman, for her part, who is facing him, offers a less pronounced profile. The forehead is high, and the hair is plentiful. All these characters are Europoids. This is evidence of the artistic level of prehistoric men. Let's see now what is going on in the Mashhad area during this outing, punctuated at every turn by the presence of the sheep, which profits at every moment of the least grassy plot of land. Mashhad is first of all a major village at 780 meters of altitude, surrounded by gardens and by a palm grove, irrigated by the Demed Wed. The produce of the palm grove, apart from market gardening of the first level, is made up of dates, whose output improves the daily life of the inhabitants of these regions of a breathtaking beauty, but which seems to have been forgotten by the time. Time now is for contemplation in a peaceful moment. It is not for nothing that a lot of people of the region are poets. It's a real magical moment which could be shared by all the visitors. After lengthy days spent in the heart of the Neolithic, the night caught us unawares upon our comeback to Djelfa. Djelfa by night, it is not bad at all. Finally we arrive at the hot springs. The water oozes from everywhere. The hot springs identified in the province of Djelfa are those of Hammam Sharif and El Misran, with truly therapeutic virtues in pneumonology, ear, mouth and throat disease, liver and digestive ailments. In this field there is a matter for development in infinite spaces. After quenching our thirst in these waters of a pure wave, we are now ready to follow our outing towards the Amoura village. It is a set of mountains where physical geography expresses all its grandeur, given the deprivation of the ridges of the mountain of all vegetal covering. We are already in the south of Djelfa, and life is concentrated in the talwegs, or the hollows. The work of rain erosion has thus shaped the nature to give us these fabulous cuesta or coast relief. The infiltration of waters has favored patiently the presence of chalky depots to make of this place across the ages an exceptional maze. We are inclined to believe that a prehistoric man used to live there. Likewise, the men of today, still living in the village of Amoura, dominating it, and where residual and peaceful life seems to have settled down forever and evermore. One cannot leave the region without going to the immaculate sanctuary of Abdulaziz al-Hajj. Abdulaziz is a pious man like others found everywhere. He decides, together with his friends, to accomplish the holy pilgrimage to Mecca, like every Muslim is required to accomplish. He gathers the amount of money necessary for the travel, but hereupon he notices around him that there was a lot of misery. He then decides to devote the money of the pilgrimage to charity actions and cancels his travel. On their return from the pilgrimage, His companions who effectively went to Mecca swear having seen him in the flesh, from which one concludes that a miracle took place. Since that day, Abdulaziz has become Abdulaziz al-Hajj, and a wa'da, or generous meal, is offered in his village, bringing together people hailing from different horizons. This favors the encounters and the exchanges with the barakah or grace of the Sheikh. Some palm trees withstand the elements, searching the sustenance between two rocks, where the fauna continues to thrive. Thus the Berber villages that we encounter in our own tour beckon us and suggest a reading on the rock faces of their walls, which get confounded with the nature of the documents which no book could transmit. We should not forget to talk about the khayma, or typical tent of the Wulad Nail. This house which moves about with the free movement of the nomads according to the wealth of pastures. This khayma, red and black, the symbol of the Wulad Nail, is named Beit al-Hamra. It can house 5 to 10 people. Nowadays it welcomes artists expressing their art to the sound of the gaita and the bandir or tambourine, and putting rhythm into their harmonious steps on those of the horses and the camels. province of Djelfa, this authentic region, with its strategic geographical situation, delimited by 9 provinces, its natural beauty, its archaeological and faunistic wealth, its most reliable road network, and taking advantage of second-to-none and privileged spaces, is waiting for you wholeheartedly.